There's some recent reporting that I think is maybe a little misleading, but anyhow, it's about a story in Japan where Japanese researchers have dismantled a NIO electric car and a BYD Atto 3. And now, the question they're asking is how are BYD and NIO, how are they manufacturing them at such low prices? And they're a little bit baffled as to why. I think the answer is pretty simple and straightforward, to be honest. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. Great to have you with us. If you want to see some Chinese EVs, come to the Sydney EV show. I have free tickets for you. They are in the link in the description. Would be great to have you with us. Now, don't tell anyone. If they've already purchased tickets, then sorry. No, too sad. Then sorry, yeah, too late. But anyhow, it doesn't matter. You're supporting electrification. Now, apparently, according to Nikkei.com, the Central Japan Economic, and this is translated, by the way, so I'm going to do my best to explain it to you. Japan Economic and Trade Bureau held a seminar on the 7th of October to share the technical trends of pure EVs. About 70 auto parts companies in the central region of Japan visited the EV disassembly display. So they actually took apart their vehicles so that all these different automakers could go and have a look. They learned the characteristics of the body structure and parts design of Chinese-made EVs. As the background for Chinese companies to produce low-priced EVs, the commonality and self-production of parts have surfaced. So they found that they were trying to work out, how China is manufacturing electric cars at such low prices. Now, the truth is, we don't really know for sure the actual cost price for BYD or for NIO, or to be honest, for even Tesla EVs in China. But we do know it is lower than the cost of production for making them in Japan, for example. Now, I think there's some pretty obvious reasons for why this is. However, opening the door of an old abandoned school gymnasium in Gifu Prefecture in Japan, a dense array of auto parts comes into view, they said. More than 90,000 parts for 16 models, including BYD's SUV, the Atto 3, and the NIO ET5, plus the Tesla Model Y were on display. So they actually took apart 16 different cars. This wasn't just NIO and BYD. How can they be produced at such a low cost? One of the EVs that attracted the attention of the participants was BYD's Atto 3. The car is sold in China. Its price is around $14,000 the cheapest version. Obviously, one of the points here is BYD has sold a hell of a lot more electric cars than any Japanese automaker. In fact, BYD have sold more EVs than every Japanese automaker put together. That kind of gives you a little hint as to why BYD can sell them at a much lower price than the Japanese brands can. Now, one of the characteristics they said of the BYD Atto 3 is the ability of BYD to integrate the components. They manufacture a lot of them in-house. In the electric drive device, or the e-axle, in addition to the motor, inverter, and reducer, there is 8 components, including the onboard charger and DC to DC converter. They're all integrated together. And apparently this reduces component costs and it also reduces weight. BYD often advertises this as a marketing thing. They say it's an 8 component drive, and no one understands what that exactly means. But really all it means is actually that the vehicles aren't necessarily any more efficient, because they're not, but it means that they're cheaper for BYD to manufacture. So this advertising is probably more for BYD's other companies that are using BYD's parts and components, etc. A lot of other car brands are using BYD's skateboard essentially. So that's what is going on here. The integration of BYD's components into a smaller number makes the cost lower and makes these cars more efficient to manufacture. BYD apparently are promoting the sharing of parts with other models on the Atto 3 in self-production. So actually, when they talk about their cars, they realize that BYD is using parts from one car in other cars. Obviously it makes sense to do that, right? A lot of manufacturers, they'll have a different engine for a different car, and then a different engine, and a different model, and a different engine. So there's all these different engines. BYD's like, it doesn't make sense. Let's use one motor, one e-axle, and use that across as many models as we possibly can. Taking advantage of high sales volume of EVs, or BYD's EVs, the cost of parts has been reduced through mass production. Some designs, they said though, the Japanese said, weren't perfect. Many people think that the waterproof performance of the onboard battery wasn't sufficient. It's quite interesting to hear that. I don't know if there's any truth behind that, but that was what the people at the conference claimed. Kenshi Ito, director of Sanyo Trading, which operates the exhibition facility, pointed out that Chinese manufacturers attach great importance to low-cost production. They strictly distinguish between the parts that need to be invested and the other parts, and their views on quality are different from those of Japanese manufacturers. So basically, Sanyong, not exactly known for their own quality, we're trying to say that Japanese manufacturers are focused more on quality than the Chinese manufacturers are. Now, I don't believe a lot of people think that's true. It would be true for some Chinese brands, the lower budget brands, but I think for the more mainstream Chinese electric car manufacturers, I don't think that the parts they use in their vehicles are any less premium than the parts you see in something like a Toyota Corolla or a Toyota RAV4, for example. Think about it, right? It's pretty obvious that this is actually bullshit in a way, because look at the batteries that Toyota uses. Toyota uses, most of their hybrids, they use nickel metal hydride batteries, which, to be honest, I used those on building sites when I was like 20 years old, 23 years ago. Essentially, Toyota are using the same technology in their EV batteries, right? That was out 23 years ago. It hasn't changed at all. And why are they doing that? Cost of production. So if we're going to focus on what the Chinese manufacturers to say they're doing it at a budget price, and therefore they're cutting corners and things are not as good quality, well, look at the EV batteries they're using. At least they're using good batteries, good quality batteries, where Toyota is getting away with selling nickel metal hydride batteries to people at premium prices for more expensive, for more money for a Toyota vehicle than an equivalent Chinese vehicle. And what's the most expensive part of the vehicle? The battery. So I don't think we agree with Sangyong there at all. Sho Kato, department head of Nissan, in a certain area of Nissan who participated in the training program, said, our company, Nissan, hopes to use the experience gained from our existing business to enter the EV field. I guess the point it maybe is saying is that Nissan's not really that relevant when it comes to EV sales anymore worldwide. And they're hoping to change that by tearing down a BYD and a Tesla and figuring out how they do it. Now, they probably should have done that a few years ago. The EV disassembly display facility opened in March 2022. And apparently, the United States, the brand Caresoft in the US are involved in this. Sanyo Trading is involved in the service of database-based disassembly parts, and here you can actually see the parts after the data is obtained. The display facility uses the abandoned former Coronado Junior High School building. So a little bit like what Sandy Munro does, where he tears apart cars and then he provides a report. Now, these guys are not providing a report like Sandy Munro does, where he analyzes every tiny little detail and compares all the different cars. That's the kind of report you want to read. I think this is interesting, but really the real data you want to get is from Sandy himself. Anyhow, apparently 450 companies and more than 6,000 people have visited these exhibitions to see these cars, to see the Tesla Model Y pulled apart piece by piece, the BYD vehicles there pulled apart piece by piece, and apparently they also have a Hyundai Ioniq 6 there that they have taken apart as well. Toyota Tsusho also operates a dismantling exhibition facility for gasoline and EV vehicles, which is called the Toyotsu Manabu Square. Now, here you can see the parts in the Toyota BZ4X, but interestingly, that facility is free of charge. Not a lot of demand to see what's in a Toyota BZ4X. I think we all know the reason why.